up, everybody? Can you guys hear me okay? Sound good? How's everybody doing today? Good to see everybody. Hope you're all having a good weekend. We're back for some more raw meat, raw fat, and a homegrown heirloom organic tomato. And any kind of questions you guys got, topics, questions, we'll talk about as much as we can. I would like to say that this stream is brought to you by my company, rownaturals.shop. And I'm making a 100% grass-fed beef tallow balm and a whipped body cream. It's on the shop right now, rownaturals.shop. And the tallow balm is $15, the cream is $16, and we've sold tons in the past month and a half so far, and we've had a lot of good feedback. It's basically good for skin moisturizing, skin protecting. You can use the balm to shape your beards, and there's a lot of good uses. People have been using tallow for skincare for like thousands of years. So it's a business we decided to come up with, and we're going to start making soaps as well, natural soaps. So if you guys want to support my channel, if you'd like to, visit rownaturals.shop and check out what we got. We just have 2 items right now, but like I said, they've gotten some really good feedback from people. So it's all quality stuff, quality ingredients, real natural, simple stuff. So anyways, back to the stream. I'm doing a little early lunch today. Oh, I wanted to talk on also, YouTube's been deleting my streams. So that's why if you look at my channel, there's a couple streams that were deleted. That's why it looks like the last time I streamed was like 5 months ago, which is not true. So they said it was for medical misinformation. I'm not 100% sure what we were actually talking about in that stream, but I sort of have to be a little bit careful now on this platform, at least. I'm looking into getting into alternative platforms, but for the time being, I just got to be careful about what we're talking about when it comes to, I guess, medical information. So, but we're cool to talk about the diet. We're cool to talk about raw meats. I've never had any issues with that. It's when you start getting into the medical stuff, because these streams, they run it. They're basically like supported, like YouTube is like supported by Pfizer, so it's kind of a catch-22. I'm sort of indirectly supporting pharmaceutical companies by being on this platform, but I like to use this platform to reach people to get the message of raw meat out. So I'd like it still to be here. I don't want to get deleted. But yeah, they've been after me for years. They've been after me for a long time. So it's not anything that I'm not used to. And I'm just surprised they haven't deleted my channel already. But you can always follow my Instagram. They seem to be a little bit less strict on stuff over there. So I'm on there a little bit more because it's easier to post. But so anyways, what's up, everybody? Fishing with Juju. What's a healthy blood pressure? I honestly don't know. I've never looked into blood pressure as far as like the numbers. I don't really trust that what they're saying about blood pressure is correct when it comes to like you're supposed to have this certain number, because old Uncle Ogenus, he said when you have high blood pressure, it's there for a reason. The body created the high blood pressure in the first place because you have some sort of restriction. So you need that high blood pressure in order to circulate the blood. So why would you want to bring down high blood pressure when your body created that in the first place? So as far as the numbers though, I couldn't tell you what's a good blood pressure for everybody. drinking beer, how bad alcohol is, what's the least harmful type of alcohol. It's all poison, dude. I mean, don't kid yourself. It's all poison. But if I had to choose one, if I did drink, which I don't, it'd probably be like wine, like fermented grapes. But alcohol, I mean, it's going to lower your testosterone. Beer's going to bring up your estrogen. If you're drinking it out of cans, you're going to potentially be getting heavy metals in the alcohol from the cans. It lowers your overall vibrations. It makes you make stupid decisions. You know, alcohol is poison, man. But if you have like a beer or two every once in a while, there's nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't drink until intoxication. This is raw fat for sure. This is raw, 100% grass-fed beef fat. Sourced locally from local farms. If you guys need food, check out eatwild.com. If you want raw milk, check out realmilk.com. Shout out to those legendary websites. But you know, I have a lot to say, guys. More so than just raw meat. But you know, we're restricted on these platforms. We can't really say a whole lot. So I'm considering getting into different streaming platforms. What's my thoughts on nootropics, herbs like lion's mane and ashwagandha? I'm into mushrooms for sure. Lion's mane is awesome. Lion's mane has been known to increase nerve growth factor in the brain, which I believe is one of the only substances that they know of. I think psilocybin also does this. That's why Paul Stamets recommends stacking lion's mane with psilocybin and B12. And it's like a neurodegenerative stack, which helps like link your brain synapses together and grow new neurons and stuff. Mushrooms are really interesting, man, because like the mycelial networks that grow the fruiting bodies of the mushrooms they're like connected the same way that like the internet and our brain is connected together. So it's just really interesting. Mushrooms are like their own networks, and like they're like their own brain. So it kind of makes sense to me that like lion's mane and psilocybin and things like that would hyper connect your brain together and help grow your brain connections. I've taken lion's mane. I've grown my own lion's mane and eaten it fresh. It's really good. I want to start getting into growing it again. Ashwagandha, I've taken that before years ago when I was getting into nootropics and stuff. And I don't remember a whole bunch of stuff about ashwagandha. Like I was taking just all sorts of shit back then. I was like smoking weed all day and like doing all sorts of shit. So it's hard to get like a real study on a herb when you're taking multiple stuff at the same time. But I believe herbs are pretty powerful medicines, and mushrooms are just being researched for that too recently. Chris said those sites show nothing for where I'm from. Most useful if you live in America. Are you talking about like alternative streaming platforms, like Rumble and stuff? What's my experience with coconut cream? None, dude. It's super hard to get by itself, and you have to like make it. And we just don't get like much fresh coconut in Nebraska, so I would love to eat a bunch more coconut cream, but it's like the one food product that is super hard to get here. I can get fresh oysters, I can get, wild caught fish, all the land animals, but coconuts are hard, dude. No pun intended. Or, I don't know if that's a pun. That's a double entendre. PEM says, hello, what's your macro status? How many proteins and fats? Right now I don't really have it calculated by number, but I can sort of guess. I'm doing 2 pounds of meat with about 6 ounces of fat. So whatever that comes out to in proteins and fat. I've never calculated macros or anything, but you can kind of do it yourself if you want. So 2 pounds of red meat with probably 6 ounces of grass-fed fat. And then on top of that, do like half a quart of milk. Oh, Chris says I'm talking about the find raw milk site and the other one. Yeah, that sucks, dude. Yeah, Archer. Yeah. I wish I could have redone my wolf howl for sure. that was like first thing in the morning too, when they told me to do that. It was hilarious. But I legit did do that one time. That's why they had me do that, because I told them that I did that one time when I first started eating raw meat. How to recover fastest after heavy courses of antibiotics? Do you think it is possible to fully recover bacteria? Oh, I think anything is possible, man. How to recover fastest? Obviously, I would say raw foods. Eat raw meat, drink raw milk, eat fermented foods, sauerkraut, anything that's fermented, anything that's got bacteria in it, eat it, dude. Raw milk, I think, would probably be maybe the best, though. Because it's got so much good stuff in there for healing the gut. But you can definitely recover. Everybody gets antibiotics, man. If they were that bad for everybody, like everybody would be like dead. I know people that just have gotten like dozens and dozens and dozens of rounds of antibiotics, and they're still kicking, you know. So the body is super resilient. But yeah, just lots of raw foods. Earth is flat? I don't know, dude. I don't know. It's so funny. People love talking about that. I don't know. I'm open to it. Raw sheep milk is the best. Changed my mind. Raw human breast milk is the best milk. Changed my mind. Opinion on fasting? I think like anything, fasting has its place. It's not one of those things where it's like, is it good or bad? It's the same thing with like people ask about ketosis, you know. Opinion on ketosis. Is it good or is it bad? these things aren't good or bad. Those are like false binaries. There's a place for everything in life. There's a place for fasting. Um, let's say you ran out of food. Let's say you're hunting and you can't find anything to kill. You're going to fast for a day or two. Let's say you're doing some sort of spiritual, metaphysical journey and you want to fast to become closer to your creator or become closer to the source. Fasting is good for that too. I think long-term fasting all the time is not great. I think it's probably terrible for kids, babies, and pregnant people, and probably old people too. AM1 says, man, it's hard for me to eat a pound of steak in one sitting. Dude, I can easily. I could do a pound and a half, 2 pounds easy. Maybe not 2. I mean, I could. I used to eat 2. When it's all you eat, though, it's not hard. What's my opinion on fetal stem cell therapy? That sounds like, are they getting the stem cells from fetuses? Like experimenting on fetuses? I think that's probably pretty immoral. Chris says, I have access to good raw meats, but no raw butter or fat. Should I eat pasteurized butter with the raw meat in your opinion? By the way, the meat's kind of lean. For sure. If the meat is lean, you have to eat some fat, whatever it is. Before I could get raw butter on this diet, I was eating pasteurized goat butter, and it was super good. It was unfortunately salted, though. That was like my least favorite part about it. It was just so salty. But I was eating like sticks of this goat butter that I got from Natural Grocers. I did that for a while. But yeah, you got to get some fat in, dude. Whether it's, low quality fat, pasteurized fat, you have to have some fat for sure. What's up, Alex? Hello, Romania. What's up? What's y'all doing on there? What's life like over in Romania? What's the culture like over there? Fasting is a tool in a toolbox. Correct, for sure. Yavid? Is that how you say your name? Yavid? Well, in terms of taste, raw sheep milk, lol. Yeah, maybe. I was just kind of kidding around because I've never had, I have, but it's been like 40 years since I had human breast milk. I've heard sheep milk is really good. I've heard really good stuff about it. Remember, Henry says, awesome. Some people say you might not be able to recover all bacteria strains after antibiotics, but autogenous thrived even after chemo, so I think on primal that claim is BS. Yeah, well, anytime anybody claims that they know the limits of the human body or the limits of our environment or universe, they're lying. Nobody knows the limits of the human body, the universe. It's almost limitless, of what we can accomplish and what we can do and what the body can do. It's pretty amazing. I've heard of, what was it? Someone regrew back at a limb or something after eating or smoking peyote or some shit. Christopher Gardner talks about it, and he's a super smart dude that he wouldn't lie. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was something like unbelievable. Like some peyote sessions helped this guy like regrow like one of his limbs or like healed something in his body that was like permanently damaged just from like peyote. So like we have no idea what's going on and what is possible. We can only guess. Do you have any experience with losing stup burn, trans, and oils from the skin? I don't know what stup burn means, but losing trans oils from the... I'm not really sure your question, to be honest with you. It's Ross says hemorrhoid versus fistula and anus. Hemorrhoid curable by diet? Yes. How about fistula? Please, any opinion for my fat mate. It's funny. Hemorrhoid... I don't know if that's a guaranteed. If you eat raw primal, your hemorrhoids are gonna go away. Because I do know people that have had them and they're on raw primal and they don't just disappear, you know. Fistula, I'm not sure about that either. Because I think those are similar, but fistula is like inside or something. But it's hard to say, man. I don't have any personal experience with that. I do know people that do, and I can speak on the hemorrhoids, and I can say that it's not a guaranteed fix, like right away or anything. I think that's more of an overall lifestyle change situation. Quitting drinking, getting into doing regular bowel movements so you're not constipated, and eating foods that don't make you constipated so you produce hemorrhoids, things like that, like but they can be caused by alcohol too. So I think it's like a lifestyle change situation. What's up, Joaquin? Yeah, I'm 41, dude. Fair hat to the Yilmaz. 41 years old, bro. I've been eating this way for five years. Yeah, you gotta watch the fat, man. AM1. You gotta just pound the fat in, otherwise you're gonna feel goofy. Kind of weak. Joaquin says, I think people should adapt, like using code words for taboo stuff and keep creating content for this platform. Yeah, I could. Yeah, I've been sort of lazy about that. There's been a lot of streams where I use code words. People know what I'm talking about. But a lot of streams, I just let it slip. I just let it rip. Thanks, Fairhot. Appreciate it, man. Is coffee and raw meat a good combo? I wouldn't say it's a good combo, but if you're gonna drink coffee, eating some raw meat and fat with it's probably gonna be way better than empty stomach for sure. That's really up to you, man. I'm not gonna speak on coffee. I mean, it's something that I quit. It's not really good for your adrenal glands, but if you want a cup of coffee every once in a while, I think that's okay. I think drinking it every single morning, all morning, is not good for you though. Because it just taxes your adrenal glands, makes you crash in the afternoon, and you're just relying on a substance at that point, you know. What do I think about royal jelly and queen bee jelly? I actually have some royal jelly right now. The taste is really weird. It almost tastes like cough syrup or something. It's really weird, man. But it wasn't bad. It definitely tasted like honey-ish. Mine was mixed with honey. It's supposedly really good for you. Sylphwave says, how do you eat tougher cuts of meat? Well, I guess I'll touch one more time on the royal jelly. It's supposedly really good for you, but I think that if you're eating like raw meat, raw fats, you're on the raw diet for like a bunch of years, I don't know if like stuff like royal jelly is really gonna make like a huge difference in your diet. But just in case that it does, I like to eat weird stuff like that. Even if it's expensive, like every once in a while. Even if it does, just in case it's going to potentially fill in some sort of like nutrition void that I'm not getting with like my red meats and my fat and my milk and stuff. So that's why I like to eat stuff like royal jelly and like fish roe and oysters and things like that periodically, just to fill in some potential nutrition gaps. How do I eat tougher cuts of meat? I always end up with like a white ball of chewing gum afterwards. Well, if you're talking about the fat like that, you gotta chew that fat up. I'm sorry, cut it up first. And that way you can just swallow it. But the tougher cuts of meat, you just chop it up first. Chop it up into tiny pieces. And just basically swallow it whole. Yavid says, science has no answers to these superhumans. Yeah. Yeah, science is very short-sighted when it comes to trying to understand everything that's going on in the universe, for sure. Alex says, hello, life in Romania as a raw meat eater is horrible, but also advantageous. I'm 20 years old and I've been eating raw food for 6 months. I have arguments with my parents and people don't understand me. You can get raw milk from stores, raw royal jelly, and all the animals are fed with their natural food, mostly grass. That's good. You guys got good food over there. Yeah, don't worry about people not understanding you. That's gonna happen the rest of your life. That's what happens when you're an outlier. That's what happens when you're seeing things that other people don't see. Don't let them try to make you think you're crazy. People just aren't going to understand you, man. You know, but we understand you. So you just got to surround yourself with like-minded people. You know. How long do I think humans should live for? Part of me thinks forever. I think we're meant to live forever, possibly. But hundreds of years for sure. Probably like at least a couple hundred years. Kaneji says, how long do you think human... Oh, I'm sorry. Arthur says, where would you live if money wasn't an issue? I would probably live right here where I'm at, because that's where my friends are at, that's where my family's at, that's where my business is at. Everything, all my community is right here. So that's the most important thing in life, is community, is friends, family, knowing 10 people within 10 miles. That's so important. Now, if my community was somewhere else and I could choose any location where we all lived, probably go somewhere really cold, because cold drives all the riffraff out, if you know what I'm saying. So I would probably do something like Greenland or something, or Iceland. I think that'd be pretty sweet. Maybe somewhere up in Scandinavia. I think maybe like Norway, or something like that. Fairhat says, I just tried horse meat this year when I worked on a dairy farm in Iceland. Tastiest meat I've eaten so far. Wow, interesting. It's funny you just said Iceland too. Sylph Wave says, thanks, I think I'm chewing too much. Yeah, just swallow it in chunks, dude. Is exercise, gym, bad for longevity, says Arthur. Too much Probably. You gotta learn to listen to your body. Um, I think every once in a while it's good. Like, I've been running and lifting weights like a couple times a week, and then in between I'll do push-ups. But as I get older, like I'm 41, right? When I was like a gym bro, in my 20s, I could easily just crush lifting sessions, and I got huge real quick. I did that again when I was 30. But now that I'm like 40, 41, as you get older, man, I don't think it's good to stress your body out like that, like every day. But I think a couple times a week is okay. And you gotta just listen to your body and just not push yourself to like absolute failure. And just get like a good session in, get a good sweat going, and just kind of shoot for that. But when you're feeling tired, if you're feeling sore, if you're feeling stiff, take a break, dude. Like right now, like today, I want to lift weights, but there's something up with my wrist. I think it might be because I was doing like 250 push-ups a day for the last 3-4 days. So I'm gonna give my wrist a break today. Have I tried Ukrainian or Russian sallow? I have not. Sylph Wave says if you get access to blood, there's a great Italian dessert called sanguinaccio dolce, blood chocolate. Wow, that sounds good, man. Blood chocolate. Yeah, chocolate's got me freaked out now because of all the stuff you read about, like heavy metals in the chocolate. You guys been seeing that stuff? It's like heavy metals found in all chocolate. That's pretty bonk, if you ask me. Fairhead says also the dairy in Iceland is so good. They're having their own breed of cattle's Icelandic cow. It's one of the purest cattle breeds with high A2 content. That sounds good, dude. Iceland. I'm moving my family to Iceland. Horse meat is divine. Dude, I gotta try some horse meat. Someone send me some horse meat and I'll eat it on the show. Let's see. Kaneji says, do you ever experience fatigue when you exercise on this diet? Do you mean after or during the workouts? During the workouts, at the beginning, I'm a little bit fatigued. And then once I get going, the testosterone starts going up. And then I start getting energy. When I run, I can run 2 miles on the treadmill and I'm not fatigued at all. I could probably run 3 or 4 or 5, easy. After I work out, I usually feel really good and I'm like a little bit tired, you know, like a little bit wore out because I do really intense workouts. Like I'll lift weights for 45 minutes and then I'll run 2 miles. And I kind of know what you're saying though. Like after my workouts, I'll be just like really like mellowed out and relaxed, but usually not super fatigued. No, I can usually handle them. Arthur says on the TLC show, what's your final opinion on the Eoli? Let me read this super chat real quick. Thanks, Yavid. Hope I'm saying that right. I know it's probably not Javid. That's how we would read it here in America, but I'm just gonna roll the dice with Havid. Tell me if I'm saying that right. He says, "Great job reading the chat. Thank you on everybody's behalf." Thanks, man. Thanks for the $5, dude. That'll get me almost a pound of grass-fed beef fat. Archer says, on the TLC show, what's your final opinion on the E. coli? Well, I don't want to get banned for medical misinformation. Maybe I should make a separate video on that. But I will say everybody's got E. coli in their bodies, right? They supposedly say this one is a bad one, right? I'm just going to throw some facts out here and let you think about this. Nobody completely healthy has ever walked into a gastroenterologist and gotten a colonoscopy. So they don't know what exists in healthy people. They only know what exists in sick people. How do they know that what exists in sick people does not also exist in healthy people? So if what exists in sick people also exists in healthy people, how can they assume that what exists in sick people is what's causing their sickness when it's also existing in healthy people and not causing any sickness, right? Something to chew on there for you. And then also there's some suspicions that E. coli 0157 comes from factory farmed animals. So it's a response to the corn cocktail, as they call it, that factory farmed animals are fed. And it's basically the factory farmed animals are getting toxicity in their bodies from their living conditions, and then their bodies then produce a new strain of E. coli to combat the toxicity. So that being said, it's not a bad thing. It's doing something good for the animals. Why it didn't produce any symptoms in me? Probably because by itself the bacteria doesn't do anything. There's other factors. Like the doctor said, he said, when you combine E. coli 0157 with antibiotics, then you can get into like bloody, hemorrhaging and stuff. So it's like, that was really interesting because it makes me think, like, is that what's going on with everybody? Like, everybody that gets like food poisoning or like sick from undercooked foods, blah blah, is that because they've recently took antibiotics? Because they're on antibiotics? Because they nuked all their natural gut biome and bacterial balance, and then they get like a unusually strong strain of E. coli or salmonella in their stomach that a normal person could probably handle, but they can't because they recently were on antibiotics. And then they go to the doctor, and the doctor says, well, you got E. coli or salmonella, and they say nothing about the antibiotics that actually helped cause it. So there's just so many things going on, man. But in a nutshell, that's my thoughts on it. Alex Goldstein says, thanks for the support, bro. Good luck with the YouTube channel. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm plugging away. I'm here for you guys. And even though they're deleting my live streams, I'm still trucking along here. And I'm not going anywhere. Sylphwave says, I remember the 2013 horse meat scandal in the UK. Everyone was freaking out because traces of horse were found in IKEA hot dogs. And that's funny, dude. That sounds good. A horse hot dog? Sounds great. Remember Henry says, why do you freeze your meat? I thought one can hang up meat and keep it fresh like that. You can. It just gets really dried out. Like super dry. I mean, if you hang up meat long enough, it's going to turn into like jerky, I freeze it because it retains some of the moisture. Personally. And I can't get enough fresh meat at one time to where I would need to like hang it up. Like most of the grass-fed meat that I get is unfortunately frozen, but this is fresh, never frozen here. I've been eating fresh, never frozen meat for the last 2.5 weeks every day because I worked out a deal with my processor where I could pick it up fresh. But I can't always do that because they don't always harvest meat year round. So I got to get some of it frozen. So it's not necessarily me freezing it, it just comes frozen, dude. You know. Where'd I get the wooded plate from? This was off of Amazon. This is acacia. And it had a finish on it. It's not exactly the most natural plate, guys. I learned a lot about wooden plates in the last 2 months because I noticed that it had a finish on it. So I was like, well, I'm probably eating some kind of toxicity from the finish, so I should refinish it myself with a natural wood polish. So I sanded my plate down. That's why you can see the grain is much more pronounced than it used to be because I sanded the finish off completely off the whole both sides. Then I created a natural wood polish out of I think it's like beeswax and jojoba oil, and I put my own polish on it. But also these plates are like glued together, so this isn't like carved out of a stump. This wood is like they like glue it together. So I don't know if I can really recommend wood plates if you're trying to get away from all toxicity. I would probably just get glass, unless you can get your own wood plate that's carved out of one slab and then finish it yourself with a natural polish. Yavid says, LOL, you're right either way. It's like David with a J. Haha, but Havid is how the Arabs pronounce it, and it's an Arabic name. I'm Dominican, and the Spanish say it like it too. Got it. Havid. Oh, Havid. So is Havid basically the name David? It's just in a different language. Chris says, my biggest problem right now is that I've gotten skinny. Any tips on bulking up? I feel like I have to force myself to gain any weight. How old are you, man? I'm guessing that you're under 20. If you're under 20, you're going to be lean, dude. That's just like a natural state of most young men. Your metabolism's so high. I'm 6'3", 212 pounds right now, and I was 6'3", 175 pounds when I was 19, 20. So imagine that. Imagine me 35 pounds lighter. I was pretty lean too. As you get older, man, it's easier to put on weight, especially when you get over like 24, 25. But bulking up, lots of raw meat, lots of raw milk, lots of raw eggs, eat it all at the same time. Eat lots of raw milkshakes right before you go to bed, right when you wake up. Just constantly pull that stuff in. But right before you eat, go to sleep is a great time to bulk up. Lots of raw milk before you go to bed. Casey, what's going on? Casey says, hello, I'm building a Faraday cage today in part due to your YouTube video. Thanks for the content. Awesome, man. I love my Faraday cage, dude. Especially if you like to sleep on the floor, it's awesome. Is frozen meat worse for you? Yeah, slightly. It's not major significance, but I do notice, at least I think, when I eat fresh meat, like the past 2.5 weeks, I've felt and looked extremely healthy, almost unusually healthy, and unusual amount of like clear energy. So I think there really is something to eating fresh raw meat. It does something different to, like, I think your eyes and your face are more clear and clean and alert. I think that's why Derek Nance always looks so freaking healthy, man. And so, like, alert. Because he's constantly eating fresh raw meat. Yeah, I knew you, dude. I knew you were under 20, Chris. Anytime someone ever asks me that question, they're always under like 20. And I just know they are because that's the exact same problem that I had when I was 18, 19, 20. It's just, you're still building, dude. Your body's still developing. The body you have now is not going to be anything like the body you have when you're 25. So just keep the nutrients coming in. Just keep eating what you need to eat, but don't stress out about it. And just accept, that's the body God has given you for now. And have a little patience, dude. Promise me. Remember these words. When you're 23, 24, you're probably going to be 30 pounds heavier. Chris says, I was 167, 170 before. I used to eat a lot of pasta and that type of garbage. Yeah. Just make sure you're keeping the fat in. If you're cutting that much carbs out, just make sure you're eating a lot of fat. That's some good fat right there. Time for my dessert, everybody. Tomato. I'm gonna eat a nightshade. Ooh. Creepy little nightshades. People freak out about everything. I eat whole freaking tomatoes and potatoes and never have any issues. People freak out and tell you not to eat them because they're nightshades. Some people have issues with it, I guess, but if you don't have an issue with it, don't worry about it. Oh yeah. Yeah. Fairhat says, I have just realized that since I'm eating a lot of raw fats and avoiding eating starches and other plants, I'm way more resilient to the cold. It's like my body can regulate the temperature much better. 100%, dude. It's one of the first things I noticed when I got on this diet. I could walk outside in the cold with no coat on. And the same thing goes with heat. You're more resilient to the heat as well. This is damn good tomato. Got tomato seeds in my face, y'all. I'm just going to do another midstream plug real quick. if you guys are in the market for beard balm, skin cream, tallow balm, you, your girl, your wife, your mom, anybody, visit my shop, rownaturals.shop. We have that, and we're also going to have a lot of like natural soaps, liquid soaps, probably some shampoos, things like that for people that don't want to use like raw eggs, or for people that want to actually use soap on their bodies. A lot of people like to do that. I personally don't use soap, but women, they're designed differently, so they obviously need soaps, especially if they shave their legs, things like that. But if you guys are into natural products, visit rownaturals.shop. And I got some quality handmade, homemade goods made by me and my wife, and it's going to be how I'm supporting my channel here in the future. Raw fat is definitely easier to assimilate, dude. I was born in 82. Sergeant Angel. Raw fat is 100%. Anything raw is clearly easier to assimilate, for sure. This is the juiciest, tastiest tomato. When you eat a tomato like this, it just dawns on you that this is obviously a fruit, not a vegetable. All right, guys, what do we got here in the chat? What's going on? So, Emma Player says, do you have any knowledge if this diet can heal a herniated disc? I believe that this diet is the best diet to heal any sort of bodily damage, because you're taking in the raw building blocks that the body needs to reconstruct whatever is damaged inside your body. So, I'm not really 100% sure on a herniated disc. I'm not a doctor, guys. This is not medical advice. But this diet, to me, is the obvious answer. If you're trying to reconstruct your body and heal it with diet, it would be this diet. Because this food is unobstructed, unadulterated, raw building blocks. What zodiac sign am I? Do I believe in astrology? I believe, if you look at one, like it says I fall under Cancer, but I believe I'm actually a Gemini, because like my astrology is interesting. It really is. I do enjoy it, but it says my house and my moon or something are in Gemini. And like, I definitely feel like a Gemini for sure. I'm like 100% a Gemini. I believe my wife is a Gemini too, so it's like really interesting because we're like a lot alike. Joaquim says 82, me too. Awesome, man. What month? What month, Joaquim? Any suggestions for autistic kids, says Mahmoud Ahmad. Obviously get them on the diet, get them off gluten. I would experiment with just going like straight meat and fat. Get them off all gluten and definitely pasteurized dairy. But I would experiment with meat and fat with them for a while and then introduce some raw dairy after that and see if that changes anything. And yeah, I wanted to say something else, but YouTube will probably delete my stream. So, don't give them any more shots that they don't need. Fairhat says, I remember you said that you sometimes use eggs as shampoo. Do you use the whole egg or the egg yolk? Oh, Mahum, I wanted to say one more thing. I've always been really curious on what would happen if you did like psilocybin therapy with autistic kids. Something to think about. Fairhot says, I remember that you used to sometimes use eggs as shampoo. Do you use the whole egg or the egg yolk? I use the whole egg, man. And I just whip it up. Works fine for me. How does the yolk work? Does that still work pretty good for you? Sometimes I get scrambled eggs in my beard when I wash it. Am I concerned about lectins or oxalates? Not particularly. You can find bad things in anything. And you can demonize plants all you want and other stuff. But if it doesn't really affect you directly that you can perceive, then what's the point in worried about it? I can't perceive any sort of problems with lectins or oxalates. And I don't really worry about it too much because I don't eat them that often anyways. Like potatoes and stuff, I'll eat a potato like a couple times a month maybe at the most. It's really not that often. So as far as the oxalates, that would be the most oxalate intake that I get is through potatoes. Some people, I think what's going on is like some people's bodies are so broken down and degenerated that they just react to everything. And then you start getting into people that are just demonizing everything besides like beef and water, And it's like a lot of people don't have to eat just beef and water. I can eat fruits, I can eat potatoes, I can eat tomatoes, and all sorts of stuff, and it doesn't bother me. I can have a cooked meal every once in a while. It slows me down quite a bit, but it doesn't bother me that much. So for some people it might be an issue, but for me and for a lot of people it's not. Do I think fatty, non-organic ground beef from the supermarket would be dangerous to eat raw? No, I don't. Most supermarkets, at least here in the United States, they have big facilities, USDA facilities, inspected facilities where all the meat goes through. And it's all inspected. And it's okay. I've eaten supermarket meat so many times. Never had any issues. And I know probably 90% of people on this diet get their meat from the supermarket. Bon Newt says, enjoying the stream, by the way, joining you with some chuck roast. Awesome. Chuck roast is a fantastic cut. Nice little introductory cut for anybody looking to get a cheap, tasty raw cut. Let's see. Chris says, about autistic kids, why not raw dairy right away? Why pasteurized dairy first? Well, what I'm saying is remove all pasteurized dairy if they're on that for sure, and gluten, because I know that there's a big correlation with autistic kids having issues with gluten and dairy especially. So I would say remove all of it and then get them on a meat diet and then add raw dairy after that to see if it changes anything. Sylphwave says autistic kids on shrooms would be top trending show on Netflix. I think it would be amazing, dude. They, man, I'm just gonna tell you what I listened to. This isn't like medical advice or anything, but they used to do experiments on kids with like severe psychological problems. Severe, right? Where they were like institutionalized. A lot of them were, they couldn't speak. They were, completely messed up. And they used to do LSD experiments with these kids. It was a hospital, and this doctor would give them LSD treatments. And this for sure happened. It was like in the 60s before they made LSD illegal. And he had like breakthroughs with these kids, like especially the kids that didn't talk and stuff. Like they would start talking to him after these LSD treatments. So there's something going on there, I think. It sounds crazy, but the government went and shut it down after they made it illegal, obviously. And this guy did a podcast on it, and he interviewed this guy. Well, it was more like it wasn't like a podcast where the guy interviewed the guy. It was like a big meeting in a room full of like doctors, and one of the doctors was this like 90-year-old guy that worked in this hospital, and he actually performed all the experiments, and he's telling all these stories. You can barely hear it, but it's like fascinating, dude. It's like fascinating stuff. Fairhat says, when will you publish your new video, 5 years primal? That's funny. I was just thinking about that today. I keep telling myself I'm going to do it, but I get so busy, dude. Like, to make videos like that, I have to like film myself every day, like all day long, every meal that I eat. It takes like a few hours a day. And I just got so much stuff going on right now, dude. But it's coming. It is on the list for the next video. What do I think of Darko Velsek's self-healer's protocol and his idea of drinking plasma, sea salt, and water to cleanse the blood? I don't know. I've had somebody else ask me that. I don't know if that was you. Someone else asked me that on either this channel or a different channel. I don't know. Sea salt and water to cleanse the blood. I don't know. I don't know enough about that, to be honest with you. Well, you guys know what time it is. If we're about an hour and 5 minutes in, I think I'm probably going to go ahead and go on with my day here, ladies and gentlemen. So I appreciate y'all participating, showing up, answering questions, asking questions, and being a part of the community. Love all you guys. I'm going to take off and go get on with my day. You guys have a good day. Have a good weekend. Keep eating raw meat. God bless, and I'll see ya on the next one. Peace.